Let's begin by going over how to log in. To log in, you will go to login.rivetyidx.com and enter in your username and your password. This will take you to the main dashboard. From here, there are a few things to point out. The first is our online chat. We're available Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time to answer any questions that you may have. And you're also welcome to email us. Our email is support@rivety.com. And you can also call us. Our support number is 855-427-4848. And those are the different ways to get in touch with us. When you log into your account for the first time, you'll want to come over here to this upper right corner and go to Account Settings. Your personal information is entered in from here. If you have social media links you'd like to update, those can be updated from the social media area. And to change your account information, as in your username and your password, you'll update that from the Account Info section. And then you'll notice that you have a Rivety user ID and the token area is blank. As long as you see the ID, it has been hooked up. And if you want to display on your team roster, you can go ahead and check your name from here. Now we are in the website dashboard once again. And over here on the lower left of my screen, I have a few options. The first you'll notice is to change the template of my website. And I want to steer you away from that option just because if you change the template, all the custom work we have done will be lost. So you chose the template when you signed up and we got it all customized and taken care of for you. So now instead of doing starting from scratch, let's go ahead and go into the Edit Site option. And this will pull up the website builder itself. Let's start by going over the site settings. I'm going to click on the hamburger menu in the upper right corner, and then I'm going to click on Site Settings. The first tab in the Site Settings is the Details tab. From here you can enter in different details for your website, such as the site name, and the name of the site will be what pulls up in the tab when someone types your website URL into their browser. And you don't need to worry about subdomain and domain. We've cleared out your subdomain and entered your domain in from this area. And for any tracking codes that you have, such as a Facebook Pixel ID or Google Analytics, for example, you can enter all of those codes in from here. And then after you update your settings, you'll just want to save your settings. And let's go now to the Settings tab. The first option in this tab is for forced registration. This will require users to register for your website, giving their contact information, before they're allowed to view the property details pages. Our default that we have everyone set to is for one-page view before you're asked to register. And we do recommend that you leave this setting as it is. This has proven to be very valuable in terms of lead capture, so we'd like to suggest that you leave it to forced registration one-page view. You do have the option of changing it if you'd like. You can turn the forced registration off, or you can change the number of page views. But again, we do recommend that you leave this at one-page view. That's best for lead capture. You may have been given a piece of code from an outside source, the most common being a chat widget such as the widget we have right here. So if you're given that code, you can enter that in from the global header includes or the end of the body includes, otherwise known as the footer. And again, this would be a code for an outside widget or some outside source that wants you to do something. And they say, here's your piece of code, put it into your website. They'll give you instructions, and then you'll just come in and paste that code into one of these two areas. You're also welcome at any time to email that code over to support@brivity.com, and that will get to the right person and they can put that code in for you. Just in that email, make sure that you include your website. And the htaccess file is an area that you don't need to worry about. That has already been set up for us. And the MLS details cannot be changed without contacting support. And the reason for that is that we've already set this up for you, and you shouldn't need to come in and make any changes. Your site logo can be updated from the Site Logo tab. You'll just hit the Change option, browse your hard drive for a new logo, and then hit Upload Image. Or if you had previously uploaded a logo, you'll have access to that from your library. Oops, that kicked me out of settings, excuse me. Okay, so that's the site logo. If you would like to change the colors on your website, the most common being the link color, you can come into the Styling tab and you can change out the different colors. So for example, if I want all of my links to be in a red, I would just use the slider to the right and drag the circle to the left where I want it. Or I could come over here to another area that has the code that I want and copy that and just paste it over here. So if you have the color code, you can just paste the color code right in, or you can use the color box and use your color palette to select a new shade. And again, since I've changed some settings, I will save those settings. Let's go back over to, we were just done with styling. And now custom CSS. This is an area that you won't need to do anything in. This is set up for our designers to come in and style out the sheets. So this has all been set up for you. Unless you're really familiar with CSS and you want to do that, you're certainly welcome to, but it is not something that we have a requirement that you do. And your agent photo will be pulling through from your CRM, so you won't need to update it from this area. And page caching, this is just another area that has been set up for you. And this tells a browser which pages it's okay to save onto the browser, so that the next time you load up the website, those pages will be cached or saved. So that's how page caching works. And again, that's all been set up for you. So you can go ahead and leave that as it is. And now, since I have changed some of my settings, none of those changes will be visible until I save and publish the website. And I'm not going to do that right now. I'll do that in just a few minutes. But I did want to let you know that that is how you will get those changes to go live. And I have site settings. I also have page settings. So each page can have its own title. And again, the title of the page will be what pulls up in the tab when that page URL has been entered into the browser. Meta tags and descriptions can be entered in from the meta description area. These just need to be separated out by a comma. And again, you may be given a piece of code, and this code would be specific to a page. Maybe it's a Zillow widget or a Facebook badge. You'll always be told where to place the code. So you can just copy that snippet and paste it in either the header or the body of a specific page. Or again, copy that code into an email, send it to support@brivity.com, give us your web address, and ask us to place it for you. And we're always happy to help with that. All right, let's go over here to the left. On my upper left corner, I have an icon that's a page icon. And when I click on that, I have my site map. And the site map correlates to the navigation. So you'll notice I have all of my different pages, and they are the pages across the navigation. Now I do have some sub-pages below specific pages, so those won't display in the navigation. But for example, if I want to swap out buying and search, all I have to do is drag and drop, then hit update the menu. And it takes a few minutes to save. And it's that easy to update the navigation. Now let's go ahead and click on one of my pages. I'm going to click on the drop down. It's taking just a moment to load. See, I'm going to refresh my page. Sometimes if you get stuck, all you need to do is a quick refresh. And I do apologize, when I have my GoToMeeting open, it does slow down my specific browser just a little bit, so I apologize for that delay. Well, let's try this one more time. Okay, so I'm going to click on a page, and then I'm going to click on the drop down next to the page. And I have the option to show the page in the navigation. I can edit the name of the page. I can edit the page link. And that link will just be what pulls up in the search bar. So that can be changed if you'd like to do that for SEO reasons or for marketing reasons. You can also duplicate a page. We're going to create a page in just a moment, and for example, I might create a city page and then want to duplicate that for other cities. I could do that from the duplicate page option, and then I can delete a page. Now on that duplicate page option, one thing to keep in mind is that the pages all need to have different names. So if you're creating a copy of the seller page, it needs to have seller 1 as the name, or seller something. It can't be the exact same name. So just keep that in mind. And let's go ahead and, before we go to creating a page, there are some system pages that you want to leave alone. So I showed you how to create and change the links for different pages. We have some pages that are set up in our system, such as the search page, and then all of these pages that are lowercase down here, the agent profile, comparables, city, communities, property details. All of these pages need to be left alone, and the name needs to not be changed. These are all tied into the search or other dynamic areas of the website, and so they need to be named something specific. So if you see a page that is not set up in all caps, just know that that's a page that's working in the background, so leave it alone. But you can edit any pages that have all caps or that you've created yourself. So let's go ahead and go down here to add a page. I'm going to give my page a name. Oops. Then I'm going to hit Add Page. And my page will be generated in just a minute. It takes just a minute to completely load. But I'm going to create out a city page, and we can add some different blocks to it, and you'll see how that works. Let's see. It's taking its thinking here. There we go. Okay, I'm going to delete out the header that's in here because we're going to add a new header. So let's do that now. Below my page icon, I have a block icon. When I click on this icon, It gives me all of my different block options, all of my different sections. I'm going to go into my header section. I'm going to select an interior header. So I'm going to drag down this top header and drop it onto my page. Now, if you would like this to pull dynamically, there is a box up here that needs to be checked. So as you're going through, if you want your headers to stay in sync with the other headers, just check this box, and that tells the header to sync up with other headers. And then if you, for some reason, wanted it not to sync up, you would just uncheck the box, but there would really not be a reason to not have it synced up. So make sure that box is checked. And then as you add pages, the pages will display in the navigation across all of the headers. Okay, so now I have a header on my page, and I want to include some content. So I'm going to click on the block again, and now I'm going to come down here to Basic Content. This section will be where all of the building blocks for your website are. I'm going to start out by grabbing a simple text block and dropping it onto the page. Okay, so here is my block. I'm going to click on Content because this is a content block. And I'm going to click on the text itself. And you'll notice that brings up a text editor for me. So I've changed the text, and I can change the subtitle as well. And of course, you can add new lines and add your own text. Now, if you want to change the details of how the text looks, you would go to Details. And then I can change, for example, the size of the text, or the color, or other details about the text. Okay. So that is how to change out text, and I do that with content. Now, with most of the other blocks that we deal with, you'll do that using the Details option. So let's come over here and grab another content block. I'm going to drop some images onto my page now. So let's come see, which one do I want? I want this one right here. So I'll drag and drop this down. Oops. I don't know what I did. I was clicking too fast. Pardon me, folks. I was on a wild clicking party there for a minute. Okay. So here are some default images, and to change them, I will click on the Details button, and then I'll click on the image I want to change. So I have the words background image with a field next to them, and the field contains the URL that the image is coming from. And that's the image library, so if I click on the field anywhere, that image library does pull up. So I can then select an image that I had previously uploaded. I can browse my hard drive for a new image, or I can use a stock photo. So I've dropped a new image in, and I can do the same thing for my other images. And let's talk about a few more of these details. So you'll notice my opacity is set to 1. If you'd like this to be a little bit darker for whatever reason, you can change that out. Or if you have a photo that's too dark and you want to lighten it up, you can come through and make sure this is set all the way to A1. So that's just a little trick for you there. So those are some of the things you can do from the details area. Now let's come back over here to this image. Let's say I want to make this image a link. You'll notice I have another tab here next to my Style tab, which I can use to link up the page, or the image, excuse me. So now when someone clicks on this image, that will be a link to the URL that I typed in. All right, now we are building a city page, so I want to highlight the cities in this area, or the houses in this city, excuse me. So let's click on the content blocks. And for this one, I am going to go into my featured properties blocks. And I'm going to pick a featured properties block and I'm going to drag that down onto my page. Okay, now to change out the text, I'll come over here to Content. And an easy way to remember it is basically for text, you'll click the Content option. For everything else, you'll click the Details option. So here is the new caption for my properties, and now since these are going to be details that I'm uploading, I'll click on Details. And by the way, a little quick reference, if you're wondering if a block is dynamic or not, if it's pulling through what looks like generic information, but it's not giving you a lot of detail, it's usually a dynamic block, meaning that it's pulling information through from another source. In this case, the MLS. So I clicked on Details, and now I'm going to click on the block itself. And it's going to ask me for my state. So I'll click on Utah, my MLS. And then if I were an agent, I could filter by my agent or my office ID. But I'm going to leave that blank because I'm filtering by cities. I want to limit this to residential homes, only active listings, although as you can see, what you could do here is create a page for sold listings and just pull solds through. So for example, if you wanted to highlight your sold listings, you would filter the properties by agent ID and then select only sold listings. So that's how to do solds. Let's continue on with our Sugar House page. Again, I don't have an agent or an office ID to include. If I wanted to do this for new listings only, I could check Show Only New Listings. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and select the neighborhood that I want. I'm going to max out my price at $450,000. And I'm going to save those settings. And now when I go to my live page, once it's been published, those properties in Sugar House, Utah will pull through to my widget or to my content block. All right, now let's say I might have a video, for example, that I want to include on my page. We have a lot of different content blocks here, as you can see. So I'm going to go to my video options. I'm going to drag down a video block. Now you will need to have all of your videos uploaded to Vimeo or YouTube. These are the options that are optimized for the web, meaning that you won't need a plugin to view videos using those two applications. As you're aware, as soon as you're asked to download a plugin, most people will just leave the website. So we want to avoid that. We want to keep them on your site for as long as possible. All right, so let's start by editing the text on my new content block. Again, I'll click on Content. And then this button, I have two options with this. I can either click on details, and I can make this a link to a specific URL, just like we did with the photo, or if I want to get rid of the button, I can click on the trash can, and I can delete out the element. So I'll click on trash can, it asks me to delete it, and it's gone. So you can kind of manipulate these blocks a little bit. You can get rid of specific elements within a block. You do have the option to edit the code for any block, but I'm not going to get into that on this training. I don't want to overwhelm you. But let's go ahead now and go to details, and we wanted to add a video. That was the biggest thing we dropped this block down for. So I'm going to click on the video details, and it's asking me for my YouTube or my Vimeo video ID. So let's come over here to the website builder. Excuse me, I was reading the tab. I apologize, folks. I have a video pulled up in YouTube, and I'm going to copy everything that comes after the equal sign, which will give me my unique video code. Now I'll paste that ID into my content block, save it, and I'm pulling my video through. Okay, so I have my properties, I have my virtual tour of the city, photos of the city. Let's say I've got a little blurb up here. I have my header, but there's one thing I need still, and that is my footer. So I have a third icon over here with my other two, and that is a favorites icon. So this has a footer favorited for you, and all that means is that it's a template footer. You won't need to recreate a footer for every page you create. We've created one for you. Every template has one. Come on. Kind of got stuck here a little bit. Anyway, while that's loading, I'll just wait. While that's loading, I will just talk to you about the templated footer. So that footer has been set up to pull your information through dynamically, meaning it will pull directly from the CRM. Let's see here. Okay. I'm not sure what has happened, but I'm going to save this page. Sometimes when you've been on a page for a few minutes, it tends to, it might slow down a little bit. And again, with my GoToMeeting open, it does slow the system down on my computer, so I apologize for that. But the only thing I had left to add was the footer, so that has, let's pretend that's been added. And now I'm ready to publish my page. So I'm actually going to refresh, and I imagine I will lose some of this because I didn't save it first, but I had to get my site working again. And like I said, that doesn't happen unless you have a lot of applications running. The application I use to run the training happens to take up a lot of bandwidth, so that slows my specific system down just a tad, and I apologize for that. But I have my new page, and we're pretending I have it, and I'm ready to publish my site. So what I will do is save, and then I'll hit publish, and that will publish my new page. That will also publish all of the changes I have just made. So for example, if I changed the color of the links and also changed to the forced registration, those changes will now be reflected on the live site. Okay, so I've given you a lot of information. We've gone over how to create a page and all of the different site settings. And I know you have specific questions for different areas that you're working in. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute everyone now. And then I would like you to go ahead and feel free to ask any questions that you have. Okay, so everyone's able to talk now. Are there any questions? And you can also type them in if you would prefer to just type your questions in. I'm not hearing or seeing any questions, but I will stay on and make sure I have them all answered. If you have your questions answered, you're welcome to hop off the training. But like I said, I will stay on and make sure I've got everyone taken care of.
I've got a question.
Sure.
When you just uploaded that video, will that show up, will that be embedded on the site, or is that a link that somebody has to click to go to YouTube or Vimeo or whatever?
Oh, that's been embedded, so it will stay within your website. And that's why we use those two formats, is so that it stays embedded and stays on your site, and they don't need a plugin. So, yep,
And
that's
is
how
it
that
possible to
works.
show us the page that you just created?
I actually think that I lost that in my publishing because my browser froze and I couldn't save it. So I don't see it here. But what did you want me to show you? I can just recreate it.
Well, I just wondered where that would have shown up here on this navigational bar.
Oh, okay. It would have shown up after the word test.
And it would have just been called the, I forget what you called it.
I called it Sugar House. So the name that I give the page. So when I come down here and add a page, oh, here it is. So whatever I name the page here will be what shows up in the navigation.
Okay, and going back, start that process, you just started with adding a page right there where your icon.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what was that?
To create that page, like if you wanted to create a page within a neighborhood in Bellingham, Washington, would you click on the page icon to do that, or like where would you start with that?
Yes, you would do that through the page icon.
So you can share your URL.
And then
so how does it create the header versus the subheader?
So for the subheader, you just drag the pages into the, so you drag the subpages into the page themselves.
Okay.
And then they become a subpage off of the page. And then there will be a drop down versus the page just being part of the header.
So like in our areas, are there drop downs there?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if I go to my live site.
Oh yeah, that's, I guess, how do you go toggle back in the back end to seeing it live to confirm that it showed up?
So you would just have to pull your site up live in another tab. Yeah. But again, all of your changes they will not show up until you publish. So you can toggle back and forth, but just be aware that until you publish, everything you're working on will just stay within the editor.
Okay, and if you wanted to add Google Analytics and all of these other things, is that something that your support team can do?
Yeah, definitely. Or you can come over here to Site Settings. And then this first tab, Details and Analytics. As you can see, I've got Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't, where would you find a Pixel ID and App ID? Where do you find those things?
Those are on Facebook and Google. As you're working with different applications, they would give those to you. So I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about the Facebook Pixel ID. I just know where to plug it into the website.
So you wouldn't know where to find it either, right?
On Facebook, no, I don't know where to find it on Facebook.